sounds like, and you keep me true on this, that probably the estimating repairs can be a little bit more daunting, right? So I've heard where there's formulas, like you can say, okay, if it's a full gut, it's, $60 a square foot. If it's a medium, renovation, or a light renovation, is some other calculation. Do you do it that general, which is completely okay and probably good for newbies, or is there another way that you comp out what the cost would be for repairing?
And that's a very good question. Because I've been doing it so long, it's like I can look at a property and know what it's going to cost, right, to renovate it. Obviously, if you haven't been doing it, like, you're not going to have that level of expertise. So you want to develop relationships with contractors. Your team in this business is so important, right? You want to have a solid team, and you should have a contractor, or really a couple different contractors on that team that will go out and take a look at a property for you and give you an estimate of what it's going to take to renovate that property.
So from all indication of what I've heard, read, spoke to people about, it's like, which comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? Because on one hand, you can get a contractor involved, but how many properties will they be willing to go out before they're ready to get a deal, right? So you call them out, you have them walk the property, you don't get the deal, or you don't use them for that deal, so you kind of burn that bridge, is what I understand. So which comes first? Is it, hey, let me go ahead and secure this deal, get the contractor to come through, like you said, from a real estate, maybe you get it through the MLS because it gives you time to get an inspection, and then you bring a contractor in after that. Is that a safer bet from a getting started standpoint, so you don't burn a lot of bridges and waste a lot of time?
Definitely. That's definitely one way to look at it. That's also part of this business and building a team, right? Because if you have a sincere conversation with a contractor and let them know, like, look, I'm serious about starting, real estate investing. I'm gonna need you to check out properties for me. Like, that individual needs to be a solid team member and be able to do that for you.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
I do.
But to answer your question, yes, you can lock properties up and then during the inspection period, have that contractor go out and take a look at it. You gotta hold your people to a standard. If they're truly on the team, then they need to, be a team player and just do whatever needs to be done. If that means going and taking a look at 5 properties a week, then they need to look at 5 properties a week.
Gotcha.
If you're going to end up, for example, this is going to be a $200,000 renovation. Right. If I have a contractor that I'm basically saying, hey, you're going to get this job, I'm going to expect them to look at properties when I need for them to look at properties for me. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a give and take thing.
A lot of people can hang out a shingle, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily the best person to work with.
That's one of the main kind of hurdles, especially when it comes to flipping houses. Is contractors. You hear the horror stories all the time. I ran into them myself, to be honest.
Gotcha.
You can ride around whatever city you're in. You can ride around and see properties that have successfully been rehabbed and sold. You can contact that owner, ask them to refer you to their contractor, or you can stop by the job site, introduce yourself to that contractor, right? Ask for referrals from successful house flippers, right, that are flipping houses. Ask them to refer you to their contractor.
Now, is there any concern, though, that from the house flipper perspective, hey, I got a solid team, I spent years building that team, and now if I refer them out, they may not be available when I have a project? Or on the flip side is, if it's a newbie and they're like, well, he's giving them $200,000 deals, I'm unproven, so I may have a deal, and they may say, hey, Tobar's, he got a deal, yours got to wait, or I can't do yours.
I mean, both of those scenarios are very real. You have some people, they may have a scarcity mentality and think that, okay, these people working for me, I can't give you their name and number.
Sure.
It's a scarcity mentality.
Right.
Unless they're on your payroll, you're paying them, weekly or something, whatever.
They're free agents.
Right. I mean, they're operating their own business, right? So you do have a lot of people like that, but there are also people that will, gladly refer you to their contractors.
And I would imagine the contractors appreciate you for giving them even more business than you're already bringing to them.
Absolutely, absolutely, totally. And you can't go online, you can't find people, you know, obviously read the reviews.
Yeah. I was gonna say, what are some quick red flags, right? I remember I did a home remodel one time, and the guy was saying, hey, you know, I need you to pay me 50%, right? He showed up, this was the morning of. I need you to pay me 50%. I said, that's not what we talked about. Well, I need to pay my guys. I said, well, all right, well, how long will it take you to finish this bathroom? I can do that in a day. Well, if you finish the bathroom in a day, I'll pay you for the bathroom in a day, right? So that was a red flag to me. I didn't go with him, right? But what are some red flags from your experience?
That's one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. Definitely never pay anybody up front. Now, there are gonna be some people that kind of demand it.
Yeah.
If it's your first time working with them, I'd say find somebody else.
Okay.
Like, you know, when you're contracting with people, if you're contracting them and they're gonna supply the materials and the labor, some of them may want some type of deposit. Okay. And, you know, it's almost kind of, you know, you can't really kind of get around that sometimes, because by not giving them a deposit and expecting them to buy the materials, and, you know,
that's a risk for them.
Right, and so you're kind of looking at them to finance your project for you, and most contractors, unless you already have a relationship with them, they're not going to do that, right? So what I would recommend is tell them, look, I'll buy the materials, right? You can pick the materials up, I'll buy them, right? You know, I can do a phone sale from Home Depot or any of the local building companies. You know, they can literally take payment over the phone. The contractor pick the materials up, go do the work, and then let them know, look, I'll pay you on a schedule. Like, once you do line items 1, 2, and 3, I'll pay you based for those 3 line items. Once you do, you know, 4, 5, and 6, I'll pay you for those line items, so on and so forth. You know, that's
how do you make sure those line items are done correctly? Do you bring an inspector in, or, you know, again, because you're like, hey, this isn't right, that's not right, you should have done this differently. How does a newbie figure that out?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So if more than likely, unless they're financing the acquisition and the rehab of that property out of their own pocket, if 9 out of 10 are getting a loan, right? If they're getting a loan from a bank or some type of lender, private lender, that private lender is going to inspect the property before they release draws. Okay. Right? So literally what you can let that contractor know is, hey, you know, you have to do line items, you know, 1 through 5, then my lender is going to send their inspector out and inspect it.